Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Gopi Jana Bhava Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Bhava Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Braja Jananandana Yasodanandana Braja Jananandana Jamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Jamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Radha Samasundara Radha Samasundara Radhe. Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Vrindavan Dham. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Gurudev. Nityalaya Pavishta Jayang Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajacharya अष्टतर शत श्री श्रीमद AC भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की. नित्यलय प्रविष्ट जयं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टतर शत श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत गोस्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त बुंद की जय. नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय. श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय. श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय. श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय. श्री द्वारका धाम की जय. श्री अयोध्या धाम की जय. श्री बद्रिका धाम की जय. श्री कृष्णा भक्ति पदायिनी श्री वृंदा देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय. श्री गंगा मैया जमुना मैया की जय. जुग धर्म श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. श्री हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की उपस्थित समस्त भक्त वृंद की जय. All goes to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All goes to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All goes to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All goes to Sri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashta Prayesu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. Hare Krishna. So, all of you have already been hearing from a very exalted Vaishnava, our Krishna Kumar Prabhu, and not many devotees around. So, and today's topic I have been allotted is 18th chapter, slok number 30, right? So, first of all, I will seek the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, because I have no qualification to speak in front of all of you. You know much more than me. But somehow, yesterday suddenly, Dharmantam Prabhu told, you have to give a class. I said, what class? He said, Bhagavad-Gita. I said, all right, but actually my voice is not very good also. So, little bit cold is there. So, please forgive me if it any inconvenience, but I'll try my best, whatever I have heard, whatever I have learned, and whatever was taught by my superiors, for my own purification and for the pleasure of the lordships and all the devotees. So if anything is wrong or anything, I mean to say, in shortcomings are there, please rectify that after the class, and that's the only message I want to give. So all of you have been hearing the last chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. And what is the entitled? That is Moksha Yoga, renunciation, perfection of renunciation, right? So, in that, this chapter has been divided into various sections. The current section, which Krishna is telling to Arjun, so it is called, it starts from 18th verse till 40th verse, 18 to 40. So there, Krishna says to Arjun, see all the actions. There are 6 things actually. One is jnana, jnaya and parigyata. Jnana means knowledge, jnana means the objective of knowledge, and parigyata means the knower. And then these are the 3 motivators. You have already heard this, right, in the previous speakers. And the next thing is this karma, kārya and karana. Karma, karana and kārya. So, karta. So, these 3 are called they are the constituents of the action, any actions. Okay, so these 6 together, they are controlled, they are influenced by the 3 modes of material nature. Okay, it's a bit, little bit philosophical. So, all of you have already been here, those who are regularly hearing, they can catch this point. So, forgot to get me a spectacle. So anyway, so this sloka is pravṛttiṁ cha nivṛttiṁ cha kāryākārye bhayābhaye bandhaṁ mokṣaṁ cha vetti buddhiḥ sa pārtha sāttvikī pravṛttiṁ ca nivṛttiṁ ca kāryākārye bhayābhaye bandhaṁ mokṣaṁ ca vetti buddhiḥ sa pārtha sāttvikī pravṛttiṁ ca nivṛttiṁ ca kāryākārye bhayābhaye bandhaṁ mokṣaṁ ca vetti buddhiḥ sa pārtha sāttvikī. Please repeat. Pravṛttiṁ ca nivṛttiṁ ca kāryākārye bhayābhaye bandhaṁ mokṣaṁ ca vetti buddhiḥ sa pārtha sāttvikī. Pravṛttiṁ ca nivṛttiṁ ca kāryākārye abhaye bandhaṁ mokṣaṁ ca vetti buddhiḥ sa pārtha sāttvikī. Pravṛttiṁ ca nivṛttiṁ ca kāryākārye bhayābhaye bandhaṁ mokṣaṁ ca vetti buddhiḥ sa pārtha sāttvikī. So, what word meaning? pravṛttiṁ, doing, cha, also, nivṛttiṁ, not doing, cha, and, kārya, what ought to be done, akārye, and what ought not to be done, bhaya, fear, abhaye, and fearlessness, bandhaṁ, bondage, mokṣaṁ, liberation, cha, and, ya, that which, vetti, knows, buddhiḥ, understanding, sa, that, pārtha, O son of Pṛthā, sāttvikī, in the mode of goodness. So the translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O son of Pṛthā, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is in the mode of goodness. Purport. Performing actions in terms of the directions of the scriptures is called pravṛttiṁ, or executing actions that deserve to be performed, and actions which are not so directed are not to be performed. One who does not know the scriptural directions become entangled in the action and reactions of work. Understanding which discriminates by intelligence is situated in the mode of goodness. Om ajnānatimirandhasya jnānāñjana salakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपीकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी मुसभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतसी नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदिनतारिणं श्रीपरमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्। Hare Krishna. So, actually this section is the summary of the yoga ladder. I hope all of you have some idea about the yoga ladder. So, whole Bhagavad-Gita is divided into 3 sections: Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Jnana Yoga, right? In the Jnana Yoga section, the lowest platform of the yoga ladder, it's like a ladder, right? And the lowest platform is called vikarmis, those who don't follow in the scriptures. Actually, these words is based on that only. So, who don't follow the scriptures, what they are called and what type of action they do and what is their destiny, right? We'll be little bit briefly enlightening on that. And then they are called vikarmis. There are 3 types of karma. One is karma, vikarma and akarma. That is mentioned in the third chapter. So karma means which is prescribed in the scriptures. Okay. So for Brahmana, for Kshatriya, for Vaishya, Sudra, different karmas are there, depending on the modes they have acquired, not depending on the birth, right? So similarly, you go little higher up, so they are called Sakama Bhakta. Sakama Bhakta is in Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means whatever karma they do, they offer the result to Krishna. Okay, that is called Sakama. They have some motive, they have some fruity mentality, they want something in return. Whereas, though you go little ahead, that is Jnana Yoga. By Jnana, they worship the Lord, and from karma to Jnana, and then next stage is Niskama Karma Yoga. Okay, Niskama Karma Yoga is the thing which is been taught by Srila Prabhupada. If you see the purport, first thing Prabhupada says, performing actions in terms of the direction of the scriptures is called pravṛttim. Pravṛttim means which has to be done. Pravṛtti, nivṛtti, right? We know our process in ISKCON, what we follow is the nivṛtti marga. How to give up those, the different types of karmas, right? So, actually 6 things are been mentioned. You can see pravṛtti, nivṛtti, and kārya, akārye, then bhaya, abhaye, and then bandhaṁ and mokṣaṁ. These are the 6 factors which are been mentioned in this sloka, right? So if you go ahead, after Niskam Karma Yoga, what comes is the sadhana bhakti. And after sadhana bhakti, it comes the bhava bhakti and prema bhakti. This is the completion of the ladder. So this whole section, this is the 3rd section, and it deals with the yoga ladder. And as I mentioned, from 19th verse to 40th verse, it says all these factors, Krishna says, it has been manipulated, or it has been influenced by the 3 modes of material nature. That's why there are 6 factors Krishna is describing. All of you must have heard that different kinds of, this section deals with the understanding, the intelligence, buddhiḥ. The 3 types of buddhiḥ based on the 3 modes. Buddhiḥ in modes of goodness, which we are discussing today, and tomorrow we will be listening the intelligence in mode of passion, and next day will be mode of ignorance, right? So, then, if you see this sloka, the actual order should be like this. Sa sāttvikī buddhiḥ. The intelligence, sāttvikī means sattva-guna, the intelligence situated in the sattva-guna. Ya vetti. Vetti means understanding. Ya vetti. The Sanskrit word says understanding. So understands. So what do you understand? Pravṛttiṁ ca nivṛttiṁ ca. Pravṛtti means the difference between dharma and adharma. The person who knows what is dharma, what is adharma. So dharma marga is called pravṛtti, adharma marga is called nivṛtti. Very simple. And then kāryākārye. Kārya means what should be done, and akārye means what should not be done. See, there is a little bit you have to be careful. As I mentioned, karma, vikarma and akarma. Akarma is not sinful acts. Vikarma is sinful acts. You must be a little careful about the wordings. Okay, karma is obvious. Everybody follows their own karma depending on the modes. What has been mentioned, assigned, like Brahmana. Samodama, tapa, socham, kshanti, arjavama, jnana, vijnanam, astikyam, brahma, karma, svabhajam. These are the 9 qualities what Brahmana works. Actually, this sloka, what Krishna is describing here, he's going to tell the qualities of a Brahmana, qualities of a Kshatriya, qualities of a Vaishya and Sudra. Before that, he is clarifying all these things. What are the different types of understanding? What are the different types of determination? What are the different types of happiness? What are the different types of work? What are the different types of workers? Like that, 6 factors, and each factor is being influenced by the 3 modes. That means the worker is 3 types, the work is 3 types, karma, and the determination is also 3 types, and the happiness is also 3 types, right? So like that. So in 6 factors into 3. So 18 different types of aspects Krishna is describing to Arjuna. Why? Why Krishna has been doing all these things? So you have to go back. If you go back, the first 12 slokas of this chapter, what it says? How to disentangle from the bondage. So there, Arjuna is asking a question, and Krishna is describing what is sannyasa, what is tyaga, right? All of you have already heard this, so I am not going to repeat it. So today's section, it is basically what is pravṛttim means, it is the varnashram dharma. Here, Krishna means it's the varnashram dharma, varnanashram, right? This varnashram is Krishna karma arpanam. You must have heard in Chaitanya Charitamrita, while Rai Ramananda, He was in near the Rajmundri. And there is a place called Kovur. There he was sitting, and he came, actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on South Indian tour, and when he met Rai Ramananda on the bank of Godavari river, okay, so they could identify each other, and then it was decided they will be meeting in the evening. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, what is sadhya and sadhan? Okay, and that very nice chapter is there, meeting of Rai Ramananda with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's a very advanced topic. So there also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked a question. So what is sadhya? What is the goal of life? And what is the different methods how to reach the goal of life? Here also it is said, what is yoga ladder basically? Yoga ladder means you have to step by step. Instead of directly going for bhakti, you are going by step by step. If you remember the second chapter, 31st verse, here, very important question, Arjuna is advised by Krishna to not to give up his swadharma. Swadharma, there is a saying that swadharmam nidhanam seya paradharma bhayābhaye. Right? That means even if it's faulty, you should not give up your swadharma. Right? Why? Because somebody is born in Kshatriya. Even if he tries also, he cannot be a Brahmana, which is happening in the recent era. In Kali Yuga, we see all the politicians are mode of ignorance and passion. They have been selected, so everybody is suffering, right? So that is what Krishna is meaning. So in this next section, that is the 6th verse, Krishna says that action, how the action has to be performed. It should be without any attachment. It should be detached action. See, the sannyasi, what is sannyasi do? He does two things. There is no kartapan and there is no bhoktapan. I am not the doer, I am not the enjoyer. Right? If these two are achieved, he is a real sannyasi, not just changing the dress and having a danda. No. The whole body, mind and words are fully dedicated to Krishna's service. That is one. How? By these two. If the sannyasi has little bit of enjoying mentality, he is no more a sannyasi, he falls down. So that's what Krishna says in this 6th verse of this chapter, which all of you have already heard. So there it is said, the action has to be without any attachment. One should not. One, if you are attached, then it is not a true action. Okay. And the next thing Krishna says, it should be with there should not be an expectation. No fruity mentality. And it should be done as a matter of duty. It is my duty to do this. That's why I am doing this. Right? So all these things in the 6th verse Krishna is telling. Right? After that, in the 9th verse, Krishna says, then why this prescribed duty, when the prescribed duty means it ought to be done. You see the translation, prescribed duty, it ought to be done, it has to be done. That means a person with pure intelligence, who is in Sattva-guna means he is in pure intelligence. He knows exactly what is to be done, what is not to be done. All of us, we have experience in our life. When we go to our spiritual master, we commit so many nonsense things, right? Many of the devotees, they think whatever they do, my way is highway, whatever I am doing is right. But spiritual master will chastise us because he is in a higher mode. He is above the just now, Prabhuji was mentioning, those who are gunatita, they are above the 3 modes, they can see what is happening to the lower mode, then they can rectify us, right? So that is why it is required, scriptures, guru, sadhu and shastra, they can only correct the disciples, right? So that is what Krishna is telling. So prescribed duties, why it is done? One, why, if one doesn't do his prescribed, what will happen? Isn't it? The question comes. So prescribed duty, as per the Varna, and in the 46th verse of this chapter, later on, Krishna is going to tell Arjuna, so even if your prescribed duty, you feel it is faulty, there is some fault, because Krishna says nothing is in this material world is absolute. Everything is covered by some faults. Like he gives the example, the analogy of fire. If it is covered by some smoke. If you remove the smoke, fire can displace heat and light energy, right? So similarly, Krishna says, even if you feel your karma is having some dosa, that means some fault, then also you should not give up. You should do. Why? By doing your karma, which you have acquired by the modes which you have inherited, if you do that karma, it will give you purification. For example, he says, even a Sudra, he serves the other 3 varnas, he gets purified. A Vaisya, he does Krushi and Goraksha, he gets purified. And Kshatriya, also he does those 7 qualities of Kshatriya. Juddha, Palayan, then heroism, then generosity, resourcefulness, and leadership, all these things. So all these qualities, based on those qualities, if he does the action, he will get purified. Right? So prescribed duties is basically done because it is the method of worshipping the Lord. By simply doing your karma, you will be worshipping your Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the main point. It is mentioned in 18th chapter, 46th verse. Okay. And also, but the problem is, we have a mentality that we are worshipping to get some fruity result. Then immediately it becomes mode of passion. See, the difference between pravṛttiṁ marga in a sattva guna and a raja guna is almost like very close, but the point is there it is incomplete. That knowledge is incomplete, whereas the sattva guna, it is complete knowledge. And in the next 2 verses you will be hearing from tomorrow and day after, Krishna says, those who are in raja guna, mode of passion, what they will do? They have no full understanding. They cannot understand exactly what is religious, what is irreligious, right? Or in tamaguna, they do the opposite. Like all these people who do, when they have more money, they do all these material. It is mentioned very nicely in Upanishad. If you see mantra number 11, Upanishad mantra number 11, there Krishna says Vidya and Avidya. I am to say this described Vidya and Avidya. Vidya means transcendental knowledge, knowledge about God, very simple. So what is that Avidya? That is important. Avidya means this material happiness for sense gratification, like Hiranyakasipu. He was so rich, and within few minutes he was finished by Lord Nrsimhadev. So that is mentioned that all the avidya is considered as vidya by the people who are in mode of ignorance. Just opposite. A religion they consider as religion, and religion they consider as a religion. Just opposite. But Rajaguni, I mean that those are in mode of passion, they're a little better. They misunderstand it to some extent in that sense that instead of worshipping God, they worship some demigods or some big powerful man or some trees or some other. But those who are in tamagun, mode of ignorance, they worship the ghosts, spirits. So it is mentioned. What is that sloka? Pitrun jante pitruvata, bhutejya jante bhutejya, madjansi jadimam. So ye jante devan, devavatan devan. So whoever worships the demigods, actually people who are in sattva-guna, they worship the demigods. But those who are in Suddha Sattva-guna, they worship Krishna. Just now Prabhuji was mentioning towards the end of his class, right? You heard. Unless you are in Suddha Sattva-guna, your devotion doesn't start, right? So then nivṛttiṁ marga, what is mentioned in the scripture, not to be done, like 4 regulative principles for us. So all these things are to be avoided. And kārya, akārye. Kārya is an action. So action is also, it should be without any attachment. It should be without any love or hatred. If it is done out of love or hatred, see, it is not so easy. Everything is it has to be in the full understanding is required. And it should not be without any fruity mentality. It should be without any fruity mentality. And then it is called, the action is called in sattva-guna. We are discussing about the sattva-guna, right? Mode of goodness. And it should be nirvikara. Nirvikara means without any vikara. What is vikara? What is vikara? Vikara means there is some duality, success, failure. If I become successful, I will do. If I don't get failure, I will not do. So this is called sort of fruity mentality, but it is called nirvikara. And then it is in sattva-guna, mode of goodness. And it should be without any pride. Very important. So these are subtle things. In sattva-guna, we have to be careful about the subtle anarthas. 16 anarthas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur he mentions. Each 4 types, basically each one is again into 4 types, like Madhurya Kadamini, right? So like that, the next element, bhaya and abhaye. What is fear? Exactly in this regard, Baldev Vidyabhusana, he very nicely describes. I'll just read his commentary of Baldev Vidyabhusana. In the 3 verses, Lord is describing the intelligence according to the 3 modes. So then he writes, the intelligence which knows what is dharma, what is adharma. Obviously, scripture says there are 12 Mahajanas. Whatever way they have showed, that is dharma, right? Kumara, Kapila, all these, Swayambhu, Sambhu, Kumara, Kapila, Narada. It's in that shloka, So like that, what is adharma? Just opposite of it, very simple. So which knows the niskama karma yoga should be performed without any expectation. Then your heart gets purified, then the transcendental knowledge will manifest, then bhakti will come, right? So for the purification, sakama bhakti is not enough. We have to go to the platform of niskama bhakti yoga. It is mentioned in chapter 5, Bhagavad-Gita. Action in Krishna consciousness, right? So, sakama karma, if you are doing, then that is called entanglement. That binds, that is called bondage. It is also there in this sloka, right? Bandhaṁ, mokṣaṁ. So, any sakama, any activity other than pleasing Krishna, any activity done other than pleasing Krishna, it binds. Like, for example, in our case, like we see in our temple, myself, I was a medical man before. Now also I am serving in the temple, right? But earlier, I was getting some salary. And it is not Krishna karma. But now, the same action we do for Krishna's pleasure, not for our own self-gratification. It is called niskam karma yoga. So that will purify the heart. Once niskam karma purifies the heart, then transcendental knowledge will manifest. And divya gyan hude prakasita, Prabhupada says. So then bhakti starts after niskam karma yoga. Sadhana bhakti, prem, then bhav bhakti and prem bhakti, in that order. Got my point? So then he says, Baldev Vidyabhusana, which knows fear of doing what is not mentioned in the scripture and knows no fear of doing what is prescribed in the... See, nowadays, what the problem is, most of the people, they don't read the scriptures. Even they read also, they misinterpret, unless they follow the acharyas. They follow the guru. So, manodharmi, most of them are manodharmi. They follow their mind. They don't follow. Very nicely, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also writes in a very nice commentary on this particular thing. He says, most of the people, they follow their mind. But unless you approach a guru, and whatever he says, because guru is nisnat, he is well versed with the scriptures. He has realized knowledge about the scriptures. If you see the internal energy of the Lord, it has sambhit, Sandhini Shakti, Sambhit Shakti and Lahadini Shakti, right? That Sambhit is the knowledge, transcendental knowledge. What is initiation? Initiation means you take a diksha from the spiritual master and he imparts the transcendental knowledge, right? So that knowledge has to come through Guru. If you are a monodharmi, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, then definitely you are bound to be in bondage and you will be always fearful. Why a sannyasi is fearless? Because he feels... You see in the Bhagavad-Gita, if you see chapter 16, I think, right? He says, Prabhupada writes in power parts, different qualities of a sannyasi, brahmachari, grahastha and vanapasti. In sannyasi, he is always fearless. His purification. He is he's supposed to be maintain distance from the women, like that, these 3 things. And so there it says fearlessness. Wherever the sannyasi goes, or a self-realized soul goes, he always feels the presence of his spiritual master and Krishna in his heart. That is why he's not fearful. Yeah. So unless we take shelter of the spiritual master and learn from his, it is not possible. So that is why, like Prahlad Maharaj, he was completely fearless. Though Hiranyakashipu attempted in so many ways, he was never been at any point of time he was fearful, because he was a bhakta. So this point we have to, and the real fear, the prayer of Prahlad Maharaj, if you read, the most significant part, which I have heard a lecture about Param Pujya, His Holiness Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj, and this Narsingha Chaturdashi. There Maharaj says, all of us, those who are conditioned in this material world, we must do at least one prayer we should offer to Lord Narsingha Dev, which Prahlad Maharaj offered. What is that prayer? he says, under no circumstances, under any point of time, and any situation, the circumstance, that is, place or any time, place or person, जो है, then we should not be in material condition life. So like Lord Nrsimhadev offered him many opulence. He said, you can take, he said, I'm not a banik, I'm not a merchant. Please don't mislead me. Okay, I have to first serve my spiritual master and then bhakti. So like that, Dhruva Maharaj. So all of them, so you see, they were afraid of only one thing, samsara, material world. That is Janma and Murtu Chakra. Right? That samsara is the thing which people are so much fond of, and they are so much attached, and they try to prolong their existence in this samsara. That is the fear, actual fear. That is what Baldev Vidyabhushan writes. He writes, one should be very, very afraid of this samsara. So when there is samsara is removed, it is called moksha. That is the bandham and mokṣaṁ. So that is called fearlessness, according to Baldev Vidyabhushan. We have to go by acharyas. We cannot speculate. Otherwise it will be definitely speculation. Of course, fearlessness means when we do some sins, we disobey the scriptures, we disobey the spiritual master, we do Vaishnava aparad, we do some sinful acts, and then obviously we are always fearful. Very simple to understand like that. So then this is the actual fear, what the acharya says. And then the intelligence, this is what the sentence structure, actually he, just like I read in the beginning, that should be the structure. He says the sentence should be the knowledge by which one knows dharma and adharma. And that is first thing, pravṛttiṁ nivṛttiṁ. Then the second thing he says, what is kāryākārye, what is bhayābhaye, what is bandhaṁ mokṣam. In that order, actually he wanted to, these things should be present. And that is in the mode of goodness. The intelligence in the mode of. See, intelligence is the most precious thing Krishna has given us. Right? If it's the nearest person, nearest aspect to the soul is what? Intelligence. Of course, all our, these things should be without false ego. If the action is with false ego, it is in the mode of passion. So in the mode of goodness means it should be without any false ego. So that means when that is possible, when we see we are the servant of Krishna, we are doing for Krishna's pleasure. So what is the false ego? So like that, he says, he gives a very nice analogy. He says, suppose we want to cut a tree, so we are using the axe. So if you see, it doesn't mean that the axe is cutting the tree. So the person is cutting the tree. So what is that axe? It is the upkaran, it is the instrument, it is karana. Understood? So that is what Baldev Vidyabhushan says. And Prabhupada also says that performing actions in terms of directions of scriptures, it is called pravṛttiṁ marga, and executing actions that deserve, that is to be done, and then any action not to be done is to be called. Very simple, small purport Prabhupada says. And as per scriptural directions, if we do, then what will the result? We will not be entangled, will not be bound by the karmic reaction. That is the whole problem. Many of us, before coming to Krishna consciousness, we are also doing many pious activities. Like in our field, we give people some medicines, some cloth, some food, some shelter, some water supply, some education. 1,000 things we do for the people. Thinking that, but these are all pious activity. Pious activity, punya. It is not bhakti. It is not bhakti. Of course, any action, whether karma, jnana or dhyana, it requires Ashtanga Yoga. It requires bhakti to be active. Without bhakti, nothing will be fruitful. Right? Bhakti is a must. But here, the mode of goodness, they try to cultivate the Kevala Bhakti, not the mixed Bhakti. Prabhuji was mentioning in the previous class. You heard? That if it is a mixed Bhakti, it is not going to impress Krishna. Krishna means it is Suddha Bhakti, Kevala Bhakti, Ananya Bhakti, Ananyas Chintantamam, Jai Jana Puripasate, that sloka. Right? So means a mode of goodness means he has a good discriminating power. Even in our daily life, why Prabhupada is giving this morning program? To make us in the mode of goodness. So simply by following this sattva-vritti, that means in the Nectar of Instruction, Krishna says, Rupa Goswami writes that Simply by following the tat karma pravartanat, he says. Just by following the programs which the acharyas has given us, getting up early in the morning, attending mangalarti and all, japa and all these things. So it will keep us in the mode of goodness. So buddhi, why it is important? Because first of all, buddhi, if you remember the analogy given in the Upanishads, there are 5 horses, like 5 senses, and the lagam, that is the mind, and the sarthi is the intelligence, the chariot driver, and the soul is sitting, and the chariot is the body. All of you are aware of that analogy, right? So there, if you see, who is controlling the horses, the senses, is the intelligence. So through the mind, right? So here, the intelligence is the one which controls the mind. So if intelligence is pure, and in 12th chapter also Krishna says, in the 8th verse, 12.8, what Krishna says? Fix your intelligence and mind on me. That is the first class devotion. That is called pure devotional service. If you cannot do that, then follow the regulative principle. If you cannot do that, do any actions for me and give the result to me. If you cannot do that, do some action and give the result for some good cause, like some society, so many good welfare activities. If you cannot do that, then give up the result, right? Give up the result of your action, okay? And if you cannot do that, do cultivate knowledge and do meditation. All this sequence, that is bhakti-yoga. Most important chapter, 20 verses are there. So that is the essence of Bhagavad-Gita. So like that. And the next thing is, it should be full of determination. Those who are in mode of goodness, we are talking about mode of goodness, sāttvikī, right? So sāttvikī means they are full determination. They'll never give up this bhakti marga. Many obstacles may come, many difficulties may come, so they never give up. Okay, so determination is also, the most of the brahmacharis, they say our sadhana is not very steady. Sometimes there is up, sometimes down. So what is the reason? What is that sloka in Bhagavad Gita which says dridha bhakti? How to practice dridha bhakti? What is that? They should be completely sinless. And there should be free from dvandva and moha, duality. See, all this duality comes because of 3 modes. As long as we are conditioned by 3 modes, see, who is free from 3 modes? In next verse, subsequent verses, Krishna is going to tell, every single living entity, including Lord Brahma, from and to Lord Brahma, they are conditioned. Of course, our Brahma is a pure devotee. He is no more conditioned. A pure devotee is beyond these 3 modes, right? Like Prabhupada and all so many acharyas we have. So then, all of us are conditioned by the 3 modes. Even in the mode of goodness, one is conditioned by, you have already heard this, knowledge and happiness. And there is a sense of happiness. Oh, I know so much Shastra. I can give so many classes. So that is also conditioning. So there also, we have to think that we have to go beyond. That is Suddha Satta. Suddha Satta. The Vasudeva platform. That is called Vasudeva platform. So like that. And there shouldn't be no material desire, as in case of Prahlad Maharaj. In Sattvagun person, they cannot have any. So we have to analyze. Mostly all of us are in passion and ignorance. Very, very, sometimes maybe goodness is there. But as Prabhuji was mentioning in previous class, simply by serving Krishna, Krishna is so much pleased. So all these things we can transcend. What is that sloka? Nistraigunna bhavarjuna. In the 2nd chapter he says, and mamjo abhyavicharino bhakti yogana sevate sagunan samatittaitan brahma bhaya kalpate. 14th chapter, 26th verse. Right? So Krishna says how to transcend? By do ananya bhakti. Same thing. The whole essence is that. Unless we do Kevala bhakti, there is no question. And Kevala bhakti is not so easy. We have to be completely in mode of goodness. And then, so we have spoken about fear, and we have very nice song, I remember, by Govinda Das. We'll just like to sing it for Lord's. Bhajahu re mana Sri Nanda Nandana abhaye charana ravindare dullabha manava janama satsange tarae bhava sindhure. See, very nicely Govinda is telling, Bhajahu re mana. Hey mind, Prabhupada gives a very wonderful purport. It has been played during before Mangalarti for the brahmacharis. Wonderful purport. All of you should read this. Sita atapa bata varishana edina jamini jagire. What is that? Viphala seivino chapala durujana. What is that? Viphala seivino? Ne chapala sukha lava lagire. Krupana durujana. Viphala seivino krupana durujana. Miser. He is only busy, interested for own sense gratification. Chapala sukha, that flickering happiness. Ahar nidra bhai maithun. Then, what is the third one? Edhana jovana putra parijana ite ki achi parati tire kamala jala dala jivana talamala bhajahu haripada nitire. Very instructive for all those who are in grahastha ashram. Putra parijana edhana jovana. Edhana jovana is wealth, this youth period. And then putra parijana means all the family members. They are of no use. Why? Because any time the death may come. Just like in a what is that called? Lotus leaf. The water, it always turtles. It may fall at any moment. Right? So like that, he is giving us the... Then what is the duty of the soul? Bhajahu haripada nitire. So we are doing that bhajan, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So the mind, it should be done with full attention. That's what he says. And the last one is still more instructive. What is that? Sravana kirtana smarana bandhana pada sevana dasyare. What is that? Pujana sakhijana atma nivedana Govinda dasa abhilasare. This is called ISKCON's anthem. This is called ISKCON's anthem. It is one of the most one of the favorite songs of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada has many times used to sing this. And these are the 9 devotional processes, Sravanam, Kirtanam, all these things. So Govinda Das wants to. So all of us have to, just by doing this, will be in the mode of Sattva-guna. So we have discussed today. So what are the 6 aspects in this verse? And tomorrow you will be hearing those who are not complete in understanding what is to be done, they are confused. Many times we get confused. What is to be done, what is not to be done. So what we should do? We should go to our spiritual master and ask, my Gurudev, please instruct me. I am unable to understand. And Krishna puts us in various puzzle. If you want to advance in devotional service, it is obviously all the anarthas we have to fight, Then even in staying in temple, we are amongst the brahmacharis, many times we see small things we fight like animals. So what is the Sattva-guna? We are so much greedy about the prasadam, full of oily, So this is all Rajaguna mostly. So we have to strengthen our sadhana and pray to our acharyas for their mercy and do some sort of tapasya. Tapo divyam putrakaadena. So some sort of tapasya is required. Like many the devotees, they take one time just prasadam, some sort of, everything is the tongue, na? So prasadam is the biggest. From there all Rajaguna starts, right? And night time we get like, what is that called? Chowmein and all. So earlier days, formerly, this was not available, only khichdi. Night time only moody and milk. No more Rajaguna things. So over a period of time, things have changed. So, and the social distractions of the social media, especially internet, mobile and laptops, that is another challenge. Most of the brahmacharis. And it's really tough. And recently I heard the management is going to take a serious action. They will take away all the smartphone after 7 p.m. And it has to be implemented at least from 7 to next day 10 o'clock. After prasadam they will be handed over. I heard. I don't know whether they are going to implement. Unless somebody is having some emergency services like some devotee care department or some, So it's really challenging for brahmacharis. Many brahmacharis, they come and tell me, all of us, that we struggle with this. So the still amongst staying amongst the devotees, and that is very pleasing to Krishna. Obstacles will come, but we have to help each other. We have to, think about others also, not only being selfish and tolerance. If we tolerate and forgive, Krishna will be very pleased. So even if in a stay in ashram, some difficulties, so we have to tolerate and pray. And our sadhana is the main thing. If your sadhana is good, nothing will happen. Just the whole problem is our chanting is defective. From there it begins. And those 24 elements which is mentioned in the nectar of instruction, the first 4 verses, most important. If you follow those 4, then all these things will. And so, please, thank you very much for tolerating my. I don't know, I don't have much understanding, little bit. So I tried to. Yeah, there are many things I should have told. So maybe you all can correct me with any mistakes. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Granthara Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. उपस्थित समस्त भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।